Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins. I'm Trevor Hankins.
I'm Julie Cannon.
And welcome to On the Air with Power Squared. This was our 15th book club? 14th book club. And a couple of the other members of the club couldn't make it today for various reasons. Hope all's well with them. We're here to talk about Pompo the Cinéphile, which is a manga.
Yes.
And whose idea was the book?
Mine.
And so tell us what fascinates you about Pompo.
Well, I saw the movie, and I really liked it, so I wanted to see what the original, Pixiv manga was like.
Okay.
And so that's why I...
Okay, well, you picked it. How did you hear about the movie, I guess? Let's start with that.
I just saw it randomly being sold.
Okay.
And I read the back, like, that sounds interesting.
That is a valid take.
And that's why they put little blurbs on the back.
Yes.
Okay, and then you decided to read the original source material.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of the source material as compared to the anime movie?
In general, I thought the movie was better because it expanded on certain elements of it, and it was a lot more visual with the creative process, especially like editing film.
Mm-hmm.
But I still liked the manga.
Okay.
Sorry, for the people in our audience who don't know what this is, should we describe what it's about?
Sure.
Yeah, so it's about Jean Feeney, who is an assistant to the director Pompo, and she has this idea for a sort of prestige film.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides that Gene is the right person to direct it. So he has to prove himself as a director.
So Pompo is the daughter or the granddaughter of kind of a well-known filmmaker or a guy who ran a studio. She sort of inherited that from him, right? In Nollywood, whatever it is.
Yeah, Nollywood.
And she has certain ideas about films, like 90-minute runtime and things like that.
Yeah.
And she's, you get the idea that it's a little bit of a fantasy about how easy it is to make a movie. But they're trying to make it fit into a book, so you can't really go on for,
Well, one thing I liked about Pompo in general is that it's actually a positive view of the filmmaking process, as opposed to Hollywood movies about the filmmaking process, where it's depicted like as full of negativity and backstabbing and trickery.
Right. Yeah, and you get a little bit of the sense of the old Hollywood studio system, because she brings on an actress to study with another actress. Right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they would sort of do to a certain degree with when they had talent. They would send them to school to learn how to do basic school, but they would also send them to how to sing, how to dance, all these kind of things. They would try to prepare them for stardom. And so the fact that she sort of has her living with another actress who's more established to sort of learn the ropes from her is sort of kind of a little throwback to that, to me at least.
Yeah. Pompo the story doesn't shy away from some of the realities of filmmaking, especially the movie, but I like that everyone is actually supportive of each other.
Right. So, Julia, what did you think?
I just want to point out, when I was reading it, Pompo's a mood when she was talking about long screen French movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there was a point, like spoilers if no one's read it, she was saying it's like, no, I don't like it when like movies go on for longer than 90 minutes, mainly just because Jean wanted to use her room to watch a movie that was like 2 hours long.
Right.
So she ended up saying, no, it has to be this time. Like, if you gotta spend more than 90 minutes to put your point across, she doesn't like it.
And generally, that's that's true with most, like, and especially, again, this is kind of a little bit of a throwback to the classic Hollywood. And a lot of those films, they were cranking them out, so they're like an hour and a half. A lot of those movies, so that's there's a certain reality to that. But there are some times, of course, when a movie needs to be longer than 90 minutes. But
it actually, like, when I was reading that, it actually made a lot of sense because I used to take it was an elective in high school, and like they needed students to fill in the class. It was like a filmmaking class.
Yeah.
So it was always making it a bit of a hoop, going like, yeah, you got to make your time right, especially when it comes to the credits. You got to like make sure everything fits within that time frame. And it's like, reading this, like, yep, that makes sense now. Because like it was even made like in the book, it also put in like her grandfather also made her sit through the credits before they had like on Marvel films.
Well, that's actually we watched the credits and we were watching them today. And there's something at the very end of the movie that if you got up and left, you would miss. So that's. I like the fact that they're putting something in there to make you watch the credits, or at least be in the room when the credits are playing.
Yes.
So because it is these people, they got paid probably not as much as you think to spend their time working on this thing, and it's not just the major stars which everybody knows, and they when those names go, they're already gone. So I do like the fact that they're making you kind of stay to watch the credits.
Fun fact, the movie, the main feature is 90 minutes long.
Right, okay.
They even put a timestamp at the end to prove that it was exactly 90 minutes.
So being true to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it when the importance of a 90-minute movie would go on for 2 hours. I like the fact that they stayed to that time.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's not what we're not reviewing the movie. We're talking about the book.
Yes.
So.
So, what other thoughts do we have about?
What do we think of the art?
It brought me back to when I used to watch Lucky Star.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Not like the whole like slice of life type, but just like the like the art style, and also just like the energy of it in a way.
Yeah. I know what you mean. This.
I don't, but I'll go along with it.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
We have Lucky Star.
I'm sure you.
Yeah,
part of it. I probably have. It's. It didn't register with me as Lucky Star. But.
I didn't mind the art style.
Okay. I was just
for this.
saying.
I thought the mangaka also had a good sense of like lighting and stuff.
Yeah. So, we recommend this to people to read?
Yeah.
I would recommend it. It's a good read. It's a good read.
Okay.
I'm actually planning on reading volume 2.
Yeah, I'm curious as well.
Or not?
She is.
Okay. All right.
What? So
are turn her off, I guess, couldn't we? No.
So were you or were you going to read volume 2?
That was the question. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That was hard to answer the question. Okay. So one of the things in here, and is that also in the movie as well, or is it just right in the book?
It's in the book. Also wanted to say the art style, the animation is obviously a more refined version of the art style.
Right.
And one other small thing that was mentioned in both versions of the story is when you're creating something, it's best to create it with a specific person in mind, because then it focuses your work.
Yeah. So this was. Story and art was by the same guy.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Shogo Sugitani.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway.
Well done.
Yeah.
One of the things in the book is every character you find out what their 3 favorite films are, and they must have. Apparently must have some sort of connection.
Well,
A lot of them seem to.
they can have a connection. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have to, but in the book, a lot of times they have some sort of like Marlon Brando's in all of them, or anime, or they're something like that. So we thought we would talk about.
Gene likes those literally me characters.
Right. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about our 3 favorite films.
Yeah.
So who wants to start off?
Should you start since it was your idea?
All right. So my top 3 films. I actually pulled them out. Are Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The original Kung Fu Panda. And the Iron Giant.
Ayo.
Okay, and so what do these have in common?
You were trying to figure that out, and we kind of concluded was my 3 favorite films seem to be about people who decide their fate or destiny. Like Scott grows into a better person by the end, and decides that he learns that self-respect is, in the movie, he learns that self-respect is more powerful than being in love.
Right.
Kung Fu Panda, Po, learns he becomes the Dragon Warrior at the end of it, and he learns that staying true to him, being himself, is what makes it, is
Power.
yeah, what makes the Dragon Warrior. Like, there is no secret ingredient. And the Iron Giant, in that case, it's the theme of, like, it's the main idea behind it was, like, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? The giant decides, instead of being a destructive robot, he'd rather be Superman.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wonder if that I like all 3 of the movies you picked, and I understand the thing about the Iron Giant, but I wonder if they picked Superman because isn't this made at Warner Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if they picked because the original is a slightly different story,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, they moved up to sort of be the the Eisenhower years or whatever. Cold War stuff. All right, good. They're all good movies.
Who next? All right, who's next?
Well, I can go next. Mine are all older films, I would say. So, thank you. I'm on the spot now. A little spotlight on me, please.
Okay, fine.
That's fine. That's fine. One of my favorite films is A Hard Day's Night. It stars the Beatles, and I'm an admitted Beatle fan. So this is a really kind of captures the moment really well. They were, at this point, had just come to America. And I think some of the movie there's some scenes I think were actually shot on the train going down to Washington or something. But it captures kind of the moment of their popularity and the peak of it in a way, at least the mania part of it. And you had a teacher in school that said that they made this to show you how to react to the Beatles when they show up, as opposed to this is how they really reacted to them. And if you watch like an Ed Sullivan show when they first were on, all these girls are screaming.
Yeah,
which is kind of what they depict here. So anyway, it's sort of a little artsy. Continuity doesn't really play a strong. The outfits. leave the train wearing a coat and tie, and the next time you see him, he's wearing a turtleneck shirt, turtleneck sweater. So I mean, they're not trying to be continuity wise here. It was just sort of a kind of as it was just moving forward kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Beatles casually bend space and time.
Oh yeah, they break the fourth wall. And it's the dialogue is funny. Somebody followed them around to see how they actually talked, and kind of wrote the script that way. They even added a character, Paul's grandfather, I think, and they brought in William Bramford or whatever his name is. He was a kind of a major star at the time in Great Britain, and they brought him in sort of as a security blanket in case they couldn't pull it off in a way, which they managed to do. And I think they shot little individual scenes for all four of them, but they didn't use McCartney, so maybe he's not an actor, but they used the other ones. So I think it's really good. It's a lot of fun, great music. And again, it just sort of captures kind of the moment really well, and it is their best film by far. My other two films are also black and white, and they starred the same person. First is The Maltese Falcon, which is like, wow, what a shock. That would be on anybody's list. But it's sort of, stars Humphrey Bogart, who, as I was talking to the boys earlier, the Beatles were considered by Variety to be the biggest act of the 20th century. And he was considered to be the biggest star from classic Hollywood days, also by Variety, I believe. So this is sort of proto film noir, which I like film noir. It's sort of a detective story, and it's a lot of great dialogue, a lot of it's just a fun movie to watch. It's one of those movies, if it's on, I'll watch it. Even though I own it, I'll watch it on TCM if it's on. My other film is also Humphrey Bogart. It's Casablanca, which is a romantic drama set against World War II. This is sort of out of character for him in a lot of ways. He was not considered a romantic lead until this movie. It has Ingrid Bergman in it, who is, really great. And it's got a lot of the same people. Some of the same people from this movie are in this. Peter Lorre and Sidney Greenstreet are also in this film. This also has Claude Rains and a lot of great dialogue. One of the fun things about this is as they were writing it as they were making it, and there were times where they weren't sure how it was going to end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but he gives up the love of his life for the bigger cause. But they weren't sure when they were making the movie if she was going to stay with him or not. So they shot the sort of neutral, reactions. And if you had them together and you know how it ends, it all works together. But they really weren't sure how it was going to end when they were making the movie. So they were literally writing it as they were going. And it was twin brothers who were writing the film. So anyway, it's just one of those kind of great classic Hollywood films. If you haven't seen any of these films, you should definitely see them.
John, what are yours?
Julia.
Julia, sorry.
We're talking to the person that's not there.
Okay, so
I
mean, are they both are with the J, so close to
it's like a brain fart for a second.
Just joshing it. But okay,
She's
so,
crushed, really. But.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. So this is coming from someone who rarely would watch movies. So I would say this little assignment was a little bit difficult for me.
All right.
To a degree. So the best thing I did was just just looking into the barrels of my brain, just remembering, I guess, movies that just kind of I remember / it just stuck with me to some degree or another, whether if it was it just stuck with me, or if I genuinely liked it. So it's a bit of both of those. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the first one, which pretty much has a chokehold on me ever since I was a kid, Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say that one just because it was one of the first few movies my father ever showed me that was animated, and funnily enough, it's also his favorite movie too. That's like one of our bonding ones. I even have like a book that has like the makings of it, and also like a book that has like the entire storyboard. The other day.
Cool.
So like I liked the premise, like a little girl and their family, they're moving into like a different part, and like she's not really liking the move. And then if you guys know the story, like they end up like stopping at a certain point, and then they decide to look around before they go meet the movers at their house. So they go explore the area of where they're living in, and then they end up like just crossing into the spirit realm, essentially.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is the parents kind of give into like, I guess like I guess the greed of the town, and they end up like messing with stuff they shouldn't have, even though the daughter's like, no, we have to get out of here. And then throughout the premise, she's trying to work to basically have her parents back.
Okay.
That's like just like in case no one's watched it, being as vague as I can. But like it was one of them. It was like also just seeing like Chihiro grow like as like a person, like going from like this bratty kid that was just, you know, like she's a kid, of course she's gonna have like those tendencies to like grow it, because she had to grow up quick just to like, you know, like just get her friends. Like she had to work with the person who basically has her family and just go from there.
Okay.
Yes, that's one. I'm very bad at explaining stuff. The second one is Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Yeah, so I really like that one. Just like the whole thing of like, just like the little, like basically like the little kid, like just in a ways being the hero type of thing.
Yeah.
Because like when you see Milo in the beginning, like he's like the nerdy kid that studies dead languages. No one wants to listen to him. Am I wrong? to going from going to that to being part of an expedition to find like this world Atlantis that no one even knows if it truly exists or not, and it's just following like the leads of this rich guy.
Right.
Essentially. But then when they do, you end up finding out like essentially the group that was like led to explore the area really just wants to do it for money, and this is the whole thing.
Yeah, you get a feeling he feels a little betrayed by them.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
So
they're friends and they're all going to do the same thing, and then they kind of turn on him. Yeah.
yeah, I liked that one just more because it kind of I guess it's one of those just like morality like pulls through to the end. At least when I used to watch it, like that was like the premise of it for me. Morality pulled through to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've watched it recently, or fairly
Yeah.
recently. Yeah. And the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Milo's home or something.
Lassie come home with Milo. Yeah.
And this one was more of the twist got to me. Like the twist of this one was actually it got me, and it's like you guys might not know this, or you might do. You guys heard of the movie Mother? It was the same director who made Parasite, Bong Joon-ho.
Heard of it, haven't seen it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the premise, in case you want to see it, is it's like the star is like a mother and her son shows like characteristics of someone who has like special needs.
Yeah.
And essentially what happened was the son got into a bit of a situation where there was the case of a high school woman that was murdered, and they pinned him for the murder. So essentially no one was believing that he was innocent, and the mother basically does everything in her power to prove her son's innocent, because like that's all she has. So like throughout the entire thing is the mother just like working to try to basically conduct her own investigation along with the help of the son's friend.
Okay.
But it's like no one's really helping them. So like that was an interesting one, and the premise of this, yeah.
Yeah. So what do these have in common? Besides you like them.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like when I started reading Pompo, I'm just like what I was reading, like at least the movies that currently stick to me right now. That was like the hardest thing for me to really try to find a connection with them, because with with Spirited Away, it was like the story of like a young girl just like growing up pretty quickly just to save her family. Atlantis, like I think the whole thing, like the whole like morality, like the whole morality thing with me.
Yeah.
And with Parasite,
Mother.
it was basically a mother doing everything she can for her son to make sure she stayed at her side no matter what.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we weren't big fans of Parasite.
Oh, sorry, I said my Parasite, a mother.
I know. You,
Wait, did I say?
yeah, you said Parasite towards the end, but yeah, no, we were talking about Mother, but we weren't big enough fans of Parasite to look.
Oh yeah, I can understand. I haven't watched it, but I've seen my friends talk about it. It's like, yeah.
I know. Sure. I have no idea why that won Best Picture, honest to God. But which we watched it because it was nominated, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, all right.
So, my top 3.
Saving the best for last.
Now I feel like I under-explained that.
I don't know if I would be able to properly explain.
Right.
Right.
Tell us what they are.
Pretty sure yours will be better than my explanations. You're fine.
The Disney Alice in Wonderland.
Hey.
Gee, now you could pick that. Don't forget.
Tron Legacy.
Hey.
And I also included the Iron Giant.
So,
Char and I saw the Iron Giant in the theater when we were kids, and it struck a chord.
yeah, we've seen
Yes.
it a couple. We saw it again in the theater when they had a special edition of it
Yeah,
or whatever.
yes.
We bought the special edition. It's a, if you haven't seen it, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
This.
So, tell us about your 3 films.
So with my top 3, say with my choices, I very strongly considered The Bad Guys, but I wasn't sure about including that because it's only like 2 years old.
Right. But you can like a new movie, but you kind of favorites. You think you kind of like spend some time with them.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's like with The Bad Guys, I could literally stare at the art book for hours. I was like really fascinated by the visuals of that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alice. I'm generally fascinated by like alternate takes on Alice in Wonderland, and playing the American McGee games for the first time actually got me to read the books. And I personally think this is one of the better versions of it.
I know the ones we've seen. We've seen several takes on that. That was by far the best or the most enjoyable one to watch. I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like of the ones I've seen, this is.
It's also very iconic.
Yes.
Right, and it's kind of like 2 stories together, though, isn't it?
It combines elements of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Right.
It also has like a lot of memorable music, and one of my favorite scenes is the Mad Tea Party.
Down, yeah.
The Mad Tea Party lives rent free in my head.
That's a fun scene.
Yeah.
Speaking of memorable music, that's one reason I like Tron Legacy.
Okay.
Because I'm a big Daft Punk fan, and so
Really? What a shock. Okay, go ahead.
really big fan of Daft Punk, and the soundtrack for Tron Legacy is like very memorable, and it's also like listenable, very listenable out of context.
Right, and they're actually in it too, right?
Yes.
In the End of Line Club.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they're the DJs in the End
Yeah.
of Line Club.
It's an I kind of prefer that to the original Tron to
Yeah.
a certain degree,
Yeah.
but
actually rewatched the original Tron recently because of a older video game that was an alternative sequel to it.
Okay.
I like both Tron movies, but I generally enjoyed this a little more.
Yeah.
I like how I also like the aesthetics of both, but I like how with Legacy they streamlined the aesthetic.
Right. Unless was it Bruce Boxleitner
Yeah.
left up our copy.
I'm not sure what else to say about the Iron Giant.
Like, the Iron Giant has really good animation and a very powerful story.
Yes.
Yeah, so actually all three of those have music in common.
Yes.
I mean, the Iron Giant soundtrack is, very, kind of a nice little 50s kind of feel to it, right?
Yes.
And obviously you like the music from the Tron Legacy, and you like the music from Alice in Wonderland. I'm trying to make a connection for you, but what is your connection for all three films?
With the Iron Giant, the one memorable bit is like the duck and cover video.
Yeah, and I did that in school.
I thought what they did with that was funny.
What was funny is they had us duck and cover next to a big thing of glass windows
Yeah.
in the hallway. They're like, so if there's an explosion, all that glass is going to come and cut us to shreds. But yeah.
Doesn't kill you.
Well, I have a feeling that ducking and covering wasn't going to save us from an atomic blast, but that's a heavy thing to drop on like a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they might drop a bomb and just wipe this out. So why am I doing homework? But,
How media was for children back then, it kind of makes sense. Because you know how like when you watch old cartoons and stuff, like stuff you used to watch as a kid, you're just looking at it going like, how the heck did this get past like the first draft of like what's appropriate to show children?
a lot of cartoons I grew up with were ones that they showed in theaters, and those weren't necessarily aimed at kids. They were just a cartoon to have
General audience.
Yeah, general audience. So a lot of it was they would have sing-alongs to songs like what the hell was it? Because they were just showing whatever they had, and that was there was tons of that stuff made. Every studio made some sort of cartoon to go with the movie, kind of a thing.
Anyway, with my top 3 films.
Back to you, okay? Go ahead.
Aside from they all have really good soundtracks, I realized one thing that's common between them is that they're centered on a character like who ends up going to like another world.
Yes.
Case of Alice, like it's like she ends up in Wonderland.
Right. It's a fantasy place. Yeah.
Yes. With Tron, it's
Ends up in a computer, right, or computer world.
yes.
Okay.
The protagonist ends up inside a computer.
The grid.
And the grid, and with in the case of the Iron Giant, it's the giant who ends up on our world.
Yeah, he's from another planet.
Yes.
As far as we know. Yeah, so that's good. All right. So, anything else? That's a good choice. I think all these were good choices, except for I don't know about Mother. But
Yeah. While Trevor was talking, I think I may have found a connection with mine. Okay, so the gist of Mother is actually the movie was made like a long time ago. I think in order for me to explain, I have to spoil it. So spoiler alert: the mother finds out like when she's trying to figure out who the murderer is, she ends up targeting this guy who was the last person to witness, or at least who was connected to the girls, this old guy. So she goes to him, pretending to be some government person or whatever, and she basically said, like, she tries to pinpoint, like, trying to get the dude to confess. But in the reality of it all, he was the witness who saw the girl get murdered by the son.
Oh, okay. That's ruined. I was going to watch that movie.
Listen, I had to explain it. So, but then the reality of it, like, basically she's kind of distraught in her own little world where, like, she couldn't accept the reality, and, like, ended up killing the guy. But then because of how the evidence was put without the context, the police basically deemed the son innocent after, like, months of being in prison. So the son was free, and then essentially, but this is best I'll explain the entire thing. But I guess the weird connect. This is probably just a stretch of the connection, but, like, in the way of, like, I guess people growing up, like, in the sense of Hero, she had to grow up quickly, like, working at, like, what's like a bathhouse and stuff like that. Basically, being an adult too fast, just to save her parents. With Atlantis, with Milo growing up, he finds his dreams only for it to really, like, in a way, be shattered by, like, someone who wants to probably sell, like, this giant power crystal to probably the Kaiser. The mother is more of maybe she didn't stop, like, she stopped growing to a certain degree if she couldn't accept the fact that her son could do something like this. In a way, she was kind of, like, stuck in a sense where she couldn't grow to realize, yeah, my son did something bad, he should probably.
So when you say old movie, how long ago was it made?
Back in, actually, that's it. I remember I had it up.
2000, 2020.
What the hell? Sorry, I had the window open and it wasn't anymore.
You can look it up for you.
I thought I had the window up. I was wrong. Back in I believe 2009.
2009. Wow. Okay, that is. I thought it was gonna be like 2020. Oh, old movie, 2020.
Since I didn't explain my.
Go ahead. It's your
let's
show.
explain. Yeah, I'll just the Iron Giant. We went over that we really like it and recommend it.
Right.
Just a brief about the other two. Kung Fu Panda. I really like the setting, and it was like when DreamWorks started caring a lot more about the quality of the storytelling, more overtly, and it also has the animation has aged pretty well, I think, and they do things that weren't done before at the time, like the bridge fight, and the way they depict martial arts is fascinating. Plus, I like Poe as a character.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Jack Black. So.
His father is.
Yeah. I also like the relationships of the characters.
Yeah.
With Scott Pilgrim, the easiest way to explain why it's my favorite movie is it has everything. It has. It's a really good. It condenses the graphic novel really well. It has great story, memorable characters, memorable music, both licensed and original. Like it has a independent vibe. It has you can now say it has an all-star cast.
Yeah.
The action's great. I like the visuals, how it combines live action with comic book.
Yeah.
In a way that I haven't really seen other things replicate as well. Plus, how it also incorporates video game stuff.
I like when the coins he collects until you ride the bus home.
It's directed by Edgar Wright, so the comedy is like on point. Then again, Scott grows really well as a character by the end.
He learns the power of self-respect.
Yes.
Is like it's especially one of those movies where like when people say like, oh, it's that movie because of like, oh, he's doing a 17-year-old. It's one of those movies you have to go like, bro, watch it. Understand why we like it. It's
Yeah.
more than just that. Just stop.
Yeah.
Also, there's worse stuff to pick. I'm not saying that what he did was right, but
Yeah.
there's worse stuff to pick in the movie.
I really like Knives, the character and the actress that played her. Yeah, she's great. I mean, and yeah, so he's not that much older than her. It's not like he's 40 and going after a 17-year-old or something. So
Yeah,
like obviously it was still frowned upon, but also like it could have been worse.
yeah, it could be a lot worse.
I just I could like keep going on, but basically I pretty much like everything about it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good movie.
Yeah.
I since we're revisiting our choices, I wanted to show that before they had DVDs, that somebody made a CD-ROM out of Hard Day's Night that you could play it on a computer. This is actually a Mac version, which I couldn't play if I wanted to, but I just got it because it was like this is going to go away. But this is a CD-ROM of the movie, so it's kind of
If you just get it for like the sake of collecting.
Yeah, I do that kind of stuff.
Well, that's a valid reason.
Yeah. I think I actually had a version of that you could play, and then I think I must have lost it or something. But I was like, oh, I just wanted to, this is sort of like, no one's going to remember this existed in a few years. So, gotta grab it while you can. It's kind of like if you see a book that you really want, you should buy it, because by the time you go back, it's gone, and you'll never find it again.
Really me with every like art book I see.
Yeah. But that's the kind of, you have to like grab it then or it'll go away.
Yeah. So that was my attempt to go.
No, I think it was good. I think all these, except for I don't know about Mother, all of them were good choices.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Mother's a great movie if you ever watched it.
Yeah.
I know. I've seen an unrelated movie also called Mother.
Yes, there's an I thought there's an Albert Brooks movie called Mother, and it's about his relationship with his mom, and Debbie Reynolds is his mother, and he's always like, "Yes, Mother," and his brother is sort of like trying to, is going out of his way to try to impress the mom, and he's like, okay, kind of stuff. It's sort of
Middle child.
I think he's the older of the two, and the younger brother's like really. He's kind of like doing okay as a writer, and his brother's like a sports agent, really successful, and so he's like can't compete that way, and it's kind of a little offbeat humor, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Mother.
So I think that
wraps it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because two of our
members were not here.
Going down the chain of whose turn it is, it's now Trevor's turn.
Right.
This
So
sooner
Trevor.
than anticipated. Since we've
Adjusting the camera.
The more in it. Good.
Since in the comic club we've read a mix of Japanese and non-Japanese comics, I had the idea of reading something that's like a sort of combines two worlds.
Okay.
Settled on Secret Reverse. It's a Marvel manga. It was done by Kazuki Takahashi, who is the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Uh-huh.
And he actually did it so it reads left to right like an American comic.
Okay. So it's not. Yeah, that's one of the things. I did not grow up reading manga, so sometimes we're like, oh, yeah, you sit away. Now it makes more sense. But this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And Takahashi had actually always wanted to do an American style comic, so when Marvel approached him to do that, he saw the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
So based on Takahashi's work in Yu-Gi-Oh, you could tell he really liked American superhero stuff.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be the next book
Yeah.
that we're doing, and
Yes.
we have to sort of. Are you okay with that, Julia?
Yeah, I'm totally good.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just looking at the book to make sure it's in my cart.
And I guess we'll have to inform those who couldn't make it that we were doing that. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I have no idea when we're actually going to get around to doing it. I guess we should at least make sure they're aware of it before we set a date.
Yeah.
So, but I assume some July or August we'll have our next one.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so
Right, so I guess that up. If you're watching this on YouTube later and you liked this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below what your top 3 films are.
that's right. That'd be great if somebody actually left a comment. All right, so until next time, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins. I'm Trevor Hankins.
I'm Julie Cannon.
and you've been on the air with Power Squared.
Bye.
Bye.